Good evening, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to our second live today on a very special day for myself and my co authors. My name is Lisa Pinnock, and today we are launching volume two of our series, Uncover Your Light, Empowering Stories of Hope and Resilience. Well, those words really resonate deeply because the women you're about to meet tonight on our live and also through the chapters of this book, they exemplify those qualities in spades. You'll see for yourself. I don't want to give anything away because I think their words coming from their lips will move you greatly. I know that they did this afternoon. We had 8 co-authors joining me on that live this afternoon, and they really brought all of the feels with them. So get ready for more of the same. So I'd love to just welcome you. First of all, thank you. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to be part of our celebration. This book came about, well, through, I guess, quite a journey. It's been a long winding road, and I'll get to a little more of that when I read part of my chapter. But I think the main thing that I have come to realize and to be just amazed by is how so many pieces of this project came together when I did not necessarily know the next step in the process because frankly, it was all new. I'll back up a little bit and share with you how the book came to be. My very first experience with co-authorship came about in this gem, Women Let's Rise. And it's interesting because the launch date of this book was exactly 2 years to the day of the launch of Uncover Your Light Volume 1. So, there are no accidents. Things certainly do happen for a reason because our original launch dates for both volumes were going to be in the summer. They had to be pushed back, and lo and behold, that kind of synchronicity, I don't think happens by accident. So, after writing a chapter called Trusting Your Intuition in my first experience with writing on a project with others, I I guess you could say a fire was lit in me. And it really centered on the idea of writing as a tool for healing. I was going through quite an immense upheaval personally at that time. And writing just became this source of comfort and strength and knowingness. Uh, and by that, I mean, I could really turn the lens inward when I wrote. And that allowed me to just grasp a newer, more profound level of awareness. And I think anyone who's been on any kind of healing journey can recognize the importance of self-awareness. It's where, all the juicy things happen. Once you become aware of what your programming might be, what things are running in the background, what stories you're telling yourself that are probably not even true, that's when you can unravel so many of those things that might be keeping you stuck. I used a phrase in volume one that always just, I think, conjures up this concept. Sometimes we get stuck on a hamster wheel of our own making. And I'm completely included in that category because that's where I was when I first started embracing writing as a pathway toward personal growth and healing. So, lo and behold, here we are. Here we are after gathering a group of 20 amazing women to write in volume one. That happened starting in March of 2021. So this has been 18 months in the making. No small feat, and congrats to those co-authors for an amazing launch last week. You make me so proud. And what happened as a result of this book taking off is that more and more women were finding that they resonated with the concept. And that is, how do you shine your light brightly when you've lost touch with who you are? It's a point of inquiry that I decided to dive into on my own personal journey, and it really reaped some amazing benefits, some that were completely unexpected. I think many times, especially as women, we spend so much time living our life through other lenses. And, that could be as a mother, as a daughter, as a sister, as a friend, as an employee, whatever those may be, they they are for others, and they are important because they are part of who we are, but yet there are other layers that can stay hidden. And that was true in my case, for sure. So, Uncover Your Light gives the women in this project, and hopefully the readers who embrace these words, it gives them the opportunity to really look within and, like I said, turn that lens inward. And by doing so, you can really uncover a lot of depth of understanding that wouldn't come about any other way. And I'm really grateful that I was able to do that with so many amazing women. So just take a moment to give them kudos because they certainly deserve it. I'm going to just read a portion of the introduction to the book. And I think this will give you a good sense of who these women are before you meet them a bit later. My deep gratitude goes out to the talented, heart-centered, courageous women I had the honor of working alongside to create our compilation, Uncover Your Light, Volume 2. These stories of hope and strength are about being the best version of yourself, which is a profound act of self-love. The 19 co-authors who share their stories have faced their fears when the path ahead seemed dark and unknown, and they want to provide a roadmap for others who are on similar journeys. They offer insights from lived experiences that can serve as a survival guide for women from all walks of life. Our co-authors live across Canada and the US. And by the way, I have to make note that this is an international series because Volume 1 has two co-authors, one from England and one who's living now in Qatar and hails from England. So I think we covered a lot of bases. They represent a greater spectrum of diversity than their current geographical locations would reveal. The array of various backgrounds and cultures has created a rich tapestry of experiences that come through in their writing. Their professions also cover a wide range, including first responders, health and wellness advocates, life coaching, spiritual healing, education, entrepreneurship, and more. So, what does it mean to uncover your light? How would that unfold in your personal situation? What would the process look and feel like? For each of us, the answers will be vastly different. But the ways in which we approach life's challenges and the tools we use to overcome them are intertwined with common threads. Through these words, our intention is to give you a framework to begin to unravel any complexities that may exist in your life. When we shine our lights brightly, we become beacons of hope, radiating throughout the world. And we unconsciously give others permission to do the same. Each of us has a voice and message that matters, and bringing them to light will create ripple effects that will last beyond the lifespan of this book. This is how we can change both our inner landscapes and the outer world by witnessing our truths, one story at a time. So, we are going to be joined in a moment by one of our co authors. And before we do that, just going to take a moment to read a small excerpt from my chapter. In volume 2, it's entitled Only You Can Determine Your Worth. And being a lifelong lover of music, as well as a music educator, I started this chapter with a song, kind of appropriate. The song is taken from one of my favorite Hillsong worship songs, and it's called Broken Vessels. All these pieces, broken and scattered, in mercy gathered, mended and whole, empty-handed, but not forsaken, I've been set free, I've been set free. If you live long enough, you discover the pathways toward healing are never linear. They can take you through hills and valleys that would put Mount Kilimanjaro to shame. But sometimes the deep descents and arduous climbs, what we call tough experiences, can open us up to the greatness within us. So, dear reader, what hidden gems will be revealed through your trials and hardships? Here's a question to answer a question. What's the difference between a lump of coal and a diamond? The answer? A huge amount of pressure. When we frame it in this way, we can view our struggles as ways to mend our souls. Our challenges are opportunities for expansion and elevation. And those broken pieces, they become our building blocks. So that's just a snippet of what you will find in our volume of Uncover Your Light, available now widely. So without further ado, I would love to bring on our first co-author onto the screen who's going to be joining me, Siobhan Carlin. And you will get to hear some more from this lovely lady. I'm just going to read for you one of the reviews that was written by another co-author who went through every single chapter, by the way, and wrote an individual review for each one of us. That is, to me, the epitome of community. Siobhan, I feel a connection to your chapter deeper than I can explain in a mere few sentences. I do want to share, though, that you are amazing, and the fact that you can take your experiences and your feelings as a young Siobhan and turn them into action as adult Siobhan, who protects other children to the best of your ability from the lessons you learned, is simply beautiful. Thank you for sharing your story. It's uplifting and inspiring in so many ways. And welcome, welcome, Siobhan Carlin. Hello, my dear.
Hello, Lisa. Thank you so much for that beautiful introduction for all of us.
Oh, my pleasure. And it is wonderful to have you here, starting off our lives this evening. Your chapter was moving in so many ways. And I remember distinctly, I love to give the audience some idea of where all these women kind of came into my sphere, because they all came from different directions and our paths converged, thankfully, but they weren't all from the same road. And in the case of Siobhan, it was through a mutual friend. So Andrea Beneteau had already decided she wanted to be part of this project, and she was a friend from my elementary school days. She was on the earlier live, and she knew Siobhan from their days as paramedics together in Toronto, and knew also that Siobhan's story was one that certainly needed to be told, and one that she had been sitting on amongst many others, because this lady has journals, books upon books of journals of her experiences. They've been wide and varied, but I'm so grateful that she said yes to being part of this writing journey, because I feel that what was unearthed in that process was very healing. And I will let Siobhan speak about that herself so that you can hear it from her perspective.
Thank you, Lisa. I think what I'm going to do tonight is just start with reading a portion of my chapter. I'm chapter 4, and I'll start with that. On a cold January night, my father died of a massive heart attack. I was 16 years old. I remember telling my mom to go to the front door, turn on the lights, and wait for the ambulance. I stayed with my dad, cradled his head in my lap, and stroked his hair. To this day, I can still see the color of his face, the tightness of his jaw, and the tension in his neck. I kept telling him that help was on the way and I needed him to breathe. What I didn't know at that time was that he was already gone, and this would be the last time I would hold him and feel his warmth. He was never coming back. The incomprehension and helplessness I felt then are what eventually drove me towards my chosen career path and filled me with a burning desire to save someone else's father in a way that I was unable to do for my own. That night is embedded in my heart. I remember the doctor came to tell my mom and me that they were unable to save him. Your father is dead. The information was delivered swiftly and with little emotion. I asked the doctor if I could see my father, and I was ushered into a room that felt much cooler than where I had been waiting. Everything in there was still and quiet. I noticed my father was on a metal gurney. His hair was completely disheveled. He had a tube coming out of his mouth, and his pajama top and bottoms were open, leaving him exposed and uncovered. Immediately, I set about fixing him. I thought about how mortified he would have been if he knew how he looked at that moment. I gently combed his hair with my fingers. I tied up his pajama pants and did up the buttons on his top. I looked at him one last time. It is that image I see when I close my eyes to this very day. From the time I was about 3, I wanted to become a doctor. All of that changed when my father died. He was the sole breadwinner in our family, and because my mother didn't work, I had to step up and take the lead. I worked 3 jobs while trying to finish high school. In those days, I often felt lost, like I was bobbing in the middle of a great big ocean, waves of emotion and responsibility crashing down on me, making me feel like I was drowning. I became interested in the paramedic program when I found out it was a 1-year college course. I enrolled in my high school co-op class and was placed with Toronto Ambulance, an opportunity that helped me get into the college of my choice. I remember the first co-op ride out I ever did. It has stayed with me, become a part of me, and at the time showed me that I had what it took to become a paramedic. I was 18 years old. I had to drive to the southwest part of the city to start my shift at 7 in the morning, and I had no idea where this station was. So I left my house at 6 o'clock in my faithful old car with my route planned, a map book on my lap, and ample time to get there. I arrived in plenty of time, so I sat in the parking lot, listening to the stillness of the morning and watching as the sun started to rise over the city, wondering what the day might bring. I was riding out with two men I had never met before, and I'm not going to lie, I was nervous. Soon, a pickup truck drove in. When the driver stepped out of the vehicle, I noticed immediately that he was tall, had a shaved head, was broad and muscular. In the next moment, another guy rolled in, riding a Harley Davidson. He wore a skull cap, helmet, and sported a handlebar mustache. His face was stern, and he too was a solid-looking guy. I took a deep breath and managed to get out of the car and walk over to where they were. I introduced myself, and to my surprise, their face broke into welcome smiles, and we all walked into the station like we were old friends. In a moment, that single life event changed the entire trajectory of my life. It made me change how I thought about myself, made me change how I looked at others, and it made me change my life's wishes and desires. Yet, it made me the medic that I became, and it made me the woman that I am today. At some point, we will all go through life situations that will take us on a journey through the darkness. Maybe it's the loss of a marriage or relationship. Maybe it's the loss of a job. Or perhaps it's the loss of a parent, a spouse, a friend, or a child. Those things in life that make us ask why. I have learned to believe, to have faith, that everything happens for a reason. We may not understand or realize the why in this lifetime, but someday it will make sense. I have had the privilege of experiencing my why. In my chapter, I take you on a journey of how it all came around full circle. Now, it's my job to just trust in the process and provide help and support to others to show that you are never alone on this life journey.
Thank you so much, Siobhan, for sharing from your heart, as you always do, so beautifully. I remember clearly when you had written in a huge deluge of creativity. You had written pretty much your whole chapter and some after a conversation that we had had, and it all came pouring out of you. And I just I often think of that experience as just floodgates being thrown open. And I know that doesn't always happen for every writer, but it happened for you. And it's a beautiful thing to witness, because now your words are part of a compilation that will undoubtedly help others to navigate the complexities of their own lives. And the story of your father's death, and how it has stayed with you all these years, and influenced and shaped who and what you are, is very poignant. I'm so grateful that you've been part of this amazing writing adventure, and that you also found a way to uncover your light in the process.
Incredible. And I thank you all and all my other co-authors here for the love and support. We've made a community. We've made a tribe through each other. And I am so humbled by each and every one of these writers. And I am so happy to now not only call them colleagues, but friends. We've now all become somewhat of an extended family, especially over these last few days. So,
Yes. No kidding, eh? There's nothing like being thrown into the pot to bring out the thrown the pot onto the fire and then whoa, then you'll see what you're made of. Oh gosh. Well, all these fire analogies go we need Andrea back in here.
that's right.
Anyway, it is just such a delight to have you with us. I would love for you to grab your your book and then we can take a screenshot together. All right, here we go. And one more for good luck. Thank you, my dear, and I appreciate your time tonight and being part of this wonderful, wonderful experience.
Thank you. And I can't wait to hear what the rest of our co authors have to say tonight.
Yes, absolutely. Please follow Siobhan. Her Facebook handle is there on the screen, and we will be giving you some updates as we go on this evening of where how we're doing in the standings on Amazon. So let's go.
What?
Take care, my dear. All right. Lovely. We are moving on to another chat with just a beautiful soul who is, and I will actually have a moment before I go on to our next co-author. I totally forgot to read some of the lovely things that were being said in the comments. Yes, Sonia said, I bawled my eyes out for Siobhan's chapter. It touched me so deeply, both the sad beginning and the incredible ending. Well, if you want to know what that incredible ending entails, you will just have to buy a copy and find out for yourself. So, without further ado, we will bring on our next co author, Rachel Myrick. Now, Rachel's story is so impactful. I will let her speak more about it when I bring her on, but let me just read her quote. Where is that line that separates a miracle and a curse? I believe that line, that determining factor, is faith. Faith can turn the darkest circumstances back around. Faith can restore our minds and even our bodies amidst the most unbearable pain. And yes, you're right, Sonia. She has been such an incredible support to all of us in this co-authoring journey. 100%. Right up until, this whole process of going live, Rachel was troubleshooting and getting everyone on board and just constant positivity, enthusiasm, and cheerleading us all on. It's amazing when you have that sort of person in your midst. You cannot help but be positively affected by their light. So let's bring her on. There she
Hello.
Hello, my friend. Welcome, Rachel.
Thank
And
you. Thank you for
so,
having
so
me.
good. Oh,
Such an
100%.
exciting day.
Yeah, what a day, eh? Oh my goodness. Yeah,
Day. It is
really
launch day. It's
some
finally here.
lots and lots of inspiration and more to come. And when I think about your chapter, I remember some of the circumstances in which you joined our project, and just for the sake of our audience who may not know those details, I'll just give you a little synopsis. I mean, the book had already been somewhat filled, but not completely. And a friend of Rachel's, someone who she knew online, Sonia Vansty, and she had already joined our little writing community, and she reached out to Rachel to tell her about what was happening and maybe to see if she was interested. Well, of course, we all know that she joined because here she is. But what you may not know is that her chapter, her words, they were they were written in the context of having come onto a project after things were already rolling along, where there wasn't a ton of help and guidance and support because things were kind of already in another phase. And she was such a trooper during those times where she was literally thrown into the mix and just kind of like fend for yourself. Um, but Rachel came out um, just with this incredible bright light in the words that she put on the page. I remember reading her first draft and being in complete and utter, tears, but tears of something that resonated deeply and something that felt I could feel her through her words. So, the fact that you can do that with a first draft, my friend, before it was even supposedly cleaned up by the editors, that just tells you the kind of raw and real um, story that is shared by you. And I'm so grateful that you're a part of this.
Well, thank you for that. And this wouldn't have been possible for me without you. The guidance from a writing perspective, from an inspiration perspective, and just being able to, you know, get my thoughts together and into a story that was, shareable and understandable for other people, and kind of giving enough background information while not getting lost because it's such a big story. I can't thank you enough. You've been instrumental throughout the entire process.
Oh, my pleasure. It was an absolute honor to walk alongside all of you amazing women. And we find a bit of ourselves in each other's stories. And I really believe that's true. Even though my experiences were nothing close to what yours were, I can see I can see some glimmer of myself, of what I may have experienced in another time or place or even dimension, because we may not have been we're not just here in one plane. But it really does speak to how connected we are through our words and our experiences. And that's why I think sharing them in this forum, in this way where we've come together to write Uncover Your Light, to share these stories with our readers, it just opens up so many possibilities for others to look within as well. So I would love to hear more about how you kind of came through the writing process, and whatever you would like to share of that experience, and how it has perhaps shaped where you are today.
Sure, absolutely. The writing process for me was a little bit different than it was for a lot of folks, because I did all of mine. My first draft was all dictated. So as I share through, and I'll share a little bit of it in a second, but as I share through my chapter, I had a major catastrophic injury 5 years ago, and that took away a lot of my abilities and changed the way I approach things in other ways. So for me to sit down, I can't sit down at the laptop and type for hours. I can't sit and write for hours, but I can dictate. I can talk for quite a while. So doing that into a recorder, and then finding a way to put that all into the right constructs for it to fit for this story, really was a way for me to begin to share my story and the impact and the different things that I want to do and bring to the community of people that I've now, surrounded myself with, from injury and chronic pain, chronic illness. There's just such a big community and so many things going on in that community that my background um, really kind of lends itself to, and gives me a not only a sense of purpose now after the injury and the resulting disease, but it also brings a lot of clarity to things that I went through in my past, that leads to the quote that you read from my chapter in the beginning, which is, where do you find that line between a curse and a miracle? Because when you face a lot of adversity for years and years and years that you don't understand, and then things seemingly get better, but then you face something else later in life and it ties it all together, you start to realize that you really had to travel down a certain path to be able to have the skills and the coping mechanisms and the ability to change perception and perspective for other people with things that come later in life. So my background and my history all really led to how I handle the fact that, 5 years ago, I went out to dinner and made it through the front doors of a restaurant as, a 35-year-old mom of two who was running a million miles an hour to someone who got inside the restaurant, got injured while I was in there. And next thing I knew, I was coming out on a stretcher, never to walk again. So, and never to have a normal day again beyond just the walking. So I'll read you a little bit of my chapter since I've given you kind of that little bit of a background. I'll read to you a little bit from the chapter. So this is after the injury. I had 6 days in the hospital. And then you would think that pain and injury would resolve and mine continue to progress. So after visiting the doctor, says it was indeed complex regional pain syndrome, or CRPS, known in the medical field as the most painful diagnosis there is. Imagine constant pain levels, topping other painful experiences, including kidney stones, unprepared, unmedicated childbirth, and even amputation without medication. This is a reality I will have to live with for the rest of my life. It has since progressed to approximately 75% of my entire body. Even a spot on my face, scalp, and one ear are affected. The spread with this disease can continue indefinitely, and the sensations and locations increase with age. So we're in this for the long haul. What does it feel like? Well, hell on earth. Is that an acceptable answer? Yeah, yes and no. Arguably not the most politically correct answer, but feels like an incredibly accurate, real, and raw answer. It feels like I'm on fire, burning from deep within my bones, radiating out through the muscles and joints all the way to the surface, coupled with the sensation of a terrible sunburn on the skin level, as though someone is grinding a handful of shards of glass into the already burning skin. Just when I begin to question if I can handle another second like this, it doesn't let up. It just up and moves on to other areas of my body. Without warning, without apparent causation or correlation, it just moves. I find I feel much like a rotisserie chicken when trying to lay in my bed and relax. About the time I get my mind around the new location and start to find mild comfort with a particular position and blanket and pillow placement, just as I get comfortable as this devilish disease will allow, it's often running to the next location, destination unknown. And then just to kind of give you another quick sentence and not to give away everything in between, to the quote that Lisa had read so beautifully for me in the beginning. It says, "So where is that line that separates a miracle and a curse?" And I believe that line, that determining factor, is faith. Faith can turn a curse into a miracle. Faith can turn the darkest circumstances back around. It can be the key to uncovering your light, even amidst the very darkest of times. For at that moment, I realized it was not a question of why me. Why would he give me this terribly painful disease and burden to bear? Instead, led by faith, I knew it was a question of how am I so special and so strong that he would trust me with one of his hardest battles. And that kind of guides my determination to make things better for the chronic pain community, the chronic illness community, and the people that are suffering and don't necessarily have the background to have the tools in their toolbox to know how to move forward.
Rachel, you have so much love in the chat. And Chloe is coming to give her
I
own little.
Lisa.
her own little bit of uh you know of high fives with her paw. I'm just I know that so many in the community of our small community of writers and those that will read your chapter all over when they have this book in their hands. I know so many people will be moved and inspired by just your perseverance and how you know, your mindset, how even when these things are happening, you still manage to let your light shine forth. And that's something that is, I think everyone has seen about you and through you. So thank you. Thank you for that. It's a gift.
Thank you so much. And our co-authors have been outstanding. They've all been, so supportive, and they all have such beautiful stories to share. And just to be part of a community of such powerful and strong women has been really wonderful.
Oh, yes, completely 100% agree. Let's take a picture.
I have it.
And I'll do yeah, there you go. All right. So let's just make sure I clear the screen here so that I can see you. And here we go. One more. There we go. Thank you.
Awesome.
Rachel, you are just such a breath of fresh air. And oh, wow, we've got more comments coming in from Pam DeWolf. We have witnessed what Rachel has gone through on a daily basis. Her strength and attitude are absolutely amazing. Is that your mom by any chance? It is. Okay, see, I recognized her name from something else. Oh, that's wonderful.
That's my
And
mom.
Sonia's
She's wonderful.
She is. And okay, Chloe, you're determined to be in this live. And Sonia is saying that you are a gem. I absolutely couldn't agree more. So many wonderful words of camaraderie coming through. I can't even begin to imagine. My prayers are with you, says Mark. Thank you for all those who are pouring their love through the comments. Uh, it really is something to behold, the light that this lady radiates. So with that, we will say, okay, see, she hasn't made an appearance for clearly she has a thing for you, Rachel. Oh my gosh, we'll see if this is going to be a trend. But Chloe says bye.
Bye, Chloe. It was good to see you. Bye, Lisa. Thank you so much.
Bye, my friend. All the best. Take care.
You too.
Oh, that was just wonderful to hear from Rachel. Yeah, she is a gem for sure. So we have our next co-author that is coming to be with us. Oh, was just so wonderful hearing from her. Let me just check in backstage to see who is next in our lineup. And yes, I guess we will just keep Chloe on the screen because that seems to be where she's happy. But let's see who is coming up next. Oh, wonderful. Oh my gosh. Rupinder. Oh, another just lovely soul is going to be gracing us in a moment. Rupinder Sidhu. Is important to have the courage to keep spreading kindness and light, even when you are faced with adversity. Oh, I love this collage of pictures. Oh my goodness, so beautiful. I know that one of those pictures is with a fellow co-author, Amy Wong from Volume 1. So look at that, friendships being formed across the volumes as well, because we held a lot of our meetings together each month. And our writing rooms where the co-authors would come to just have dedicated writing time. I mean, those were all done with both groups. So I love that friendships have formed in that regard as well. And then there's also a really cute picture from this past weekend when Rupinder's family decided to throw her a book signing party. And they all came and bought copies of her book, which is just wonderful. Isn't that right, Chloe? So we will bring on the lovely Rupinder all the way from BC. Ah, welcome.
Hi, Lisa.
Oh, nice to see you and to hear you, my dear. And welcome to our show. So we are going to be hearing from Rupinder in a little bit. She will share some of her chapter with us, but I want to just give everyone this context, as I like to do, because all these co-authors came from different facets of my life, and I'm just grateful that each one kind of each thread came together to make this beautiful tapestry. And you are one of those threads. So we met like in the most seemingly random way, but really it wasn't random. We were on I think it was Gabby Bernstein. She did one of her famous challenges that she is known to do, and it always attracts thousands upon thousands of people because she's Gabby Bernstein. And so once you know it, Pinder and I just connected on a post in the Facebook group that was created for this challenge. And then after that, we started, we connected further on socials and exchanged friend requests. And then because we were friends on Facebook, Rupinder started to see some of the things I was posting about this project. And she really had a story that she felt compelled to share, but perhaps wasn't ready to do so before. And I'm so grateful that she was nudged to join us on this journey. So I will turn it over to you, Rupinder, to share with us any aspect of this process that you would like to reflect on today.
Hi, Lisa. Yeah, I wasn't sure if I was going to be actually part of the book or not, and wasn't really ready for volume 1, and then jumped in with you for volume 2, and it's been a great experience. It took me kind of a while to get myself organized and really feel into what I wanted to write about, and the process was pretty incredible, and trying to just help a lot of self-healing, lots of trying to figure out where I was coming from and what I had learned over the years of working with so many families that had dealt with the same types of things that I had. As a child, I did deal with some racism, and it was tough. It was tough to go through all those pieces. But the main thing that I learned over all these years was that the kindness that you have in your heart, and if you have the courage to actually share that kindness and just come at your day-to-day living by just spreading that kindness, it helps everyone. And when you're working with people, or you're just seeing family and friends, it just spreads a lot of light and love when you come from a genuine space of love and kindness from your heart. So with that said, I'm going to just read a little bit of my chapter. I've had a lot of questions about writing, and how many pages or how many words do you write? What's the process of editing? And so there's so much learning to be done, and it was such a great experience working with GBR and yourself, Lisa. I've learned so much. I had no idea what I was doing with the writing when I started, but through you and Kylie, I've learned so many different things and how to actually, write my chapter. So it was just a young child walking to school. All I had to do was go up the little hill, turn left and down the road. It was a busy road with cars swishing by. A little scary, but All I had to do was press the button for the crosswalk and look both ways before I crossed. So I looked both ways and waited for the green light to come on. As I walked along watching cars go by, I got hit by something on my arm. I was startled by the voices saying, "Go back to your country, you Hindu. You stink. Look at her clothes." I wondered why they were saying such horrible things to me. I was born here. Why did they throw things at me? Confused, I ran to school. The next day, I was afraid of walking to school by myself, but I didn't want to tell my parents. So I walked hesitantly, watching all around me, hoping and praying it wouldn't happen again. And I'll leave it at that for everyone to finish reading the chapter.
Absolutely. And there's a great little teaser. Way to go, Rupinder. Because we do want we do want readers to come back to these stories again and again, but you need to get your copy on Amazon. Today's a great day to do so. So if you want to hear more about Rupinder's story and all the other amazing women, yeah, please do that thing and get a copy of Uncover Your Light. And Rupinder, before I let you go, I would just like to highlight what you do for others in spreading that kindness because, both of us are educators and have been for a very long time. And in your role in the school system, you help especially those that are coming to Canada as newcomers and helping them to feel a sense of community and to settle into what I know as an immigrant coming here from Jamaica in 1976. It can be a really scary thing to just be thrown into a vast what I thought was a frozen tundra coming from a tropical island, and just to be here, but really wanting to be somewhere else and not really knowing how to fit in. What you do in your role is just so needed and so valuable to help others to navigate that really terrifying situation that's thrown upon them often without it being a choice sometimes. And I just want to give you so much credit. I mean, it's clear from your writing and just from you being here with us for a few minutes that the kindness is king in your world, and or we could say queen. But it's so important that we spread that message to our children, that we keep that at the forefront of their minds because they are the next generation. They are going to be creating the next world in which they live. And so by teaching those lessons, you're doing so much to further that. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lisa. It's been my pleasure. And yeah, I mean, that's basically all we can do, right? Is be there for each other and share that part of us that lets people connect. And I think that's why the title was courage to connect and create connections, because it's hard sometimes to just say hello to someone or to ask somebody how they're doing. But if you just simply ask those few things or smile at someone, even though you don't know them, it's such a huge thing for us to connect with each other. Thank you.
Pleasure. My pleasure. And let's take a picture before you go. Yeah, with your book. We'll just see if our friend in the background, yes, she always does her magic. Thank you, Olivia. Let's just find the right key. All right, here we go. And one more for good luck. Awesome. Thank you, Rupinder. That was just wonderful to chat with you and wishing you all the best. I'm hoping, at some point with all of these co-authors from coast to coast, that I'm going to be able to find a way to get to see you and some of you in person. That would be the bomb. So let's just put some energy towards that happening, okay? And we have some more wonderful comments. I'll just read a few before you go. Rachel says, "Thank you so much for sharing your story with us, Rupinder, and spread kindness like confetti." Exactly. I love that. Oh, yes, for sure. And your story is so relatable. And as Olivia said, absolutely, it will help so many others who have found themselves in the same position and give them hope. So thank you, my dear. Oh, that was wonderful to hear from Rupinder. So we are going to continue with our lives. All right. We have coming up next another lovely lady that I had the pleasure of meeting online and and then getting to know her as we dove into this writing thing together. So we're going to hear from next Sonia Van Steen, and she will be coming up onto the screen in a moment. There she is. So let me read for you her quote. "Boundaries, like fences, are there for a reason and should be respected." So I love her handle on her email is cheery person, and I think you'll understand when you meet her. So welcome, Sonia Van Steen. Have a chat with us live. There she is. Welcome.
Hi there. Thank you so much for having me, Lisa.
My pleasure. It's great to have all of these voices from volume 2 sharing their perspectives and their stories with us live, because I think hearing from the authors makes so much difference in how you relate to their stories afterwards. So, as I was saying earlier, Sonia and I met online. You know, we became friends during this 2-year period of all of us being online. And and I'm so glad, so grateful that we did, because uh, through a mutual friend of ours who's a Facebook friend of mine, Jennifer Fasciano, and she saw that I was posting about this, you know, book compilation thing that I had brewing, and immediately she tagged Sonia in the post and said, this is something you got to look into. And of course, as we know, she did, because here she is. And I'm really, really glad that we can hear from her tonight. So, oh, this is beautiful. Rachel said, "Sonia Van Stee is the brightest light and so kind. She's become one of my closest friends, and we've never met in person." I love how that happens. And, you know, because of you, Sonia, that's how Rachel also came onto this project. So we have to thank you for a few things. So I'm going to let you take it away, my dear, and share whatever insights you would like to tonight.
Okay, thank you, Lisa. So I thought I would start by just reading a little bit from my chapter. And let's see, where did I start here? Should I have just kept my mouth shut? I had so many questions. All the old questions, plus a myriad of new ones, gushed out in a steady stream that soon became a churning river full of feelings of unworthiness, guilt, sadness, fear, and low self-worth. In response, I shut down even more and ate. I hid candy and ate it secretly when nobody was around. I'd always enjoyed sweets, but now I craved them more than ever. Eating sweets became my happy place, while at the same time I knew intellectually that I was exhibiting destructive behavior. It was as if something was overpowering me, and I continued gaining weight and hating myself for it. I don't blame my parents for not knowing what had happened. They noticed a change in my eating habits, but it didn't occur to them that there was something much deeper that was showing up in my eating habits. They saw the symptom but didn't know the root cause. When I was 13, my parents decided they needed to intervene with my eating and introduced me to dieting. Oh, the stories I could tell of diets. Over the years, I'm sure I've tried almost every single one. I can probably tell you every flavor of shake from every company out there. And don't get me started on the cabbage soup diet. With each new program, I lost weight and then gained more after I stopped. I started believing I could never be a normal weight, so I'd give up. Then the shame would kick in again and I would try another diet. This constant yo-yo of weight loss and weight gain ate at the fibers of my very soul. My self-esteem took beating after beating, and I felt more alone. Sorry. I felt more alone than ever before. When I saw my reflection in the mirror, just give me a second here. All I saw was disgust, guilt, and embarrassment scowling back at me. It was disheartening to not only feel those emotions, but to see them as well. It was as if my reflection was another person judging me. I promise I was not gonna cry. So much for that. I felt unworthy, miserable, and perpetually guilty. It didn't matter that the circumstances that had led me to this point weren't my fault. I still felt the shame. So how did I drag myself? And I do mean drag, it was no easy feat. Out of the depths of despair and the torment inflicted on myself because of my situation? That's a great question. And one you'll have to continue reading yourself to find out.
Well, that was a moving portion of your chapter, and there's more. There's more where that came from. I remember when I read it first, and like so many of the chapters in this volume, there were segments of it that were so raw and deeply painful, but yet so moving because you moved through that pain. And coming on the other side of it, you're a story of victory, not victim. And that is so powerful. Thank you for having the courage, my friend, to share your experiences in this vulnerable way. It could not have been easy. And I'm just very touched that you were compelled to do that with us. And I really feel like this was a community of women where it was safe to share. I know that you felt that too. So lots and lots of beautiful comments in the chat. Let me just, oh my goodness, some from my own friends here. Samantha Grief said, "You're so brave for sharing, Sonia." Yeah, 100%. And your friend, our mutual friend, Rachel said, "You've got this. You are such a beautiful person inside and out. The end of your story is such a beautiful success." Yes, yes, it is. 100%. So anything else you would like to? Yeah, go ahead.
It was difficult to write it. And when we paired up to read our chapters to another fellow author, that was hard. Because I think it was the first time I'd really expressed myself in that way. Like I had told you the story, but reading it out loud, knowing that this is going to go out to the world, it was just like, holy cow, am I really ready for this? But it was also very healing, writing something and knowing that other people will see it, and knowing that that maybe you can encourage one person to know that they're not alone. I felt like I was alone. And now maybe somebody will realize, hey, I'm not alone. Sonia went through that. I can too.
That camaraderie, that type of sisterhood is something that you just can't go to the store and buy. It happens organically, and it has happened in such a beautiful way here. Wow, so many amazing snippets that are coming through in the comments, and I hope you're able to see that too. Your healing is so beautiful to witness. I agree, Olivia. I've been blessed to be able to be part of that trajectory with Sonia and so many others, to see them go through that healing process. And for me too, writing was a tool for personal growth, and it was cathartic on so many levels to be able to release those words onto the page. And yes, it's totally scary. I'm with you. It's so scary to know that others are going to be reading something that was deeply personal to your life, and perhaps not anything that you'd shared widely either. And yet, through doing that, we're touching so many lives. And that really is, I think, the crux of why I wanted to do these books. So thank you. Thank you again for being part of that journey. And I would love to take a picture with you before we part, with you and the book in your hands. Lovely. Okay, here we go. One more for good luck. Thank you, my dear. Oh, yes.
Thank
Rachel
you,
also
Lisa.
says, I'm so proud of you. Your strength is
Aw.
beautiful. So many will be able to identify and know it's okay to share their journey too. Because, so much of what we endure can remain hidden and remain under wraps because it's just too painful to share. So you doing so, Sonia, it gives others permission to do the same. And Rupinder says, so grateful to have met you. Oh, love the love that's coming in. Oh, okay, my dear. Well, thank you for being here tonight
Thank
and
you
for
so much,
sharing with
Lisa.
us. And we will see you soon on the other side of that Amazon list. We're gonna get up there. Oh, all right. Wonderful. And we even have some co-authors joining from volume 1. Thank you, Ada, for your comments. And I know that others are watching in the live stream, which is so great. Oh, yes, Becky, she is a beautiful soul, 100%. All right. So next up on our list of authors to chat with tonight, we have Christina Tam. And here we go. Let me read a bit of her quote for you. Have the courage to know yourself. It can create change that pays in dividends. Oh, yes. I love how her sister Louise is like my favorite author coming up. Did she pay you for that one? Comment? I love it. That's wonderful. Oh, Christina Tam, here she is.
Hello. Thank you so much
Welcome.
for having me,
Yes.
Lisa.
Oh, my pleasure. And just I love how Louisa just got her comment in there, because that's a great precursor to the fact that we have in volumes 1 and 2, we kept it all in the family. And your sister Louisa wrote a chapter in volume 1, and then lo and behold, you decided to join in volume 2 and to write your story. And the title being Please No Pictures. Now, I would love for you to share and give our audience some insight and context as to how you came about writing your chapter, what that looked like for you, what that meant for you, and what that growth journey
Mhm.
that you embarked on, both before and during the writing process, but what that brought forth for you.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. So as you mentioned, Louisa, my sister, is in volume 1, and when I heard that she was becoming part of this project through you, I was like, wow, what an amazing opportunity. I know exactly what I would write about if I had that opportunity. And not long after that, I actually was presented with that opportunity with volume 2. So wanted to give you guys a special shout out for that and making that happen for me. Regarding the writing process, because I already knew exactly what I was going to write, I have been on, I would say, like a personal development / growth journey over the last probably 6+ years now, having like sought out therapy and, you know, that whole kind of, I think the therapy idea is still stigmatized today. I know we've made strides on that in society, but I think that a lot of people still shy away from it because there's maybe shame around it, like, oh, I dealt with that, or I don't need to really confront that because, you know, I'm good now, like, because it's in the past. Let's just look forward. And unfortunately, that's just not always the case. There's always, I think, something to learn about yourself and to understand where your, let's say, behaviors or your reactions come from, because a lot of that is taught to you at a young age. And so I knew that my chapter was going to be very much focused on my own growth journey in terms of discovering who I actually was and why I thought the way I did. Like, I've always coined myself as like the proverbial middle child, or the extra kid in the family, because there are 4 of us. And why did I have that mindset? So I wanted to understand where that came from. And it really actually came out because I would notice these kind of unhealthy patterns about the way I would deal with conflict in my personal relationships. I was very accommodating to people. I always relented, and I was like, okay, it's all my fault. You're right. I got to change. I got to, you know, make this different thing happen for next time. And I did all of that. I accommodated the other person. I minimized my own needs because I wanted to appear small so that they wouldn't reject or abandon me. And that's like a core wound, I'll call it. And so what ended up happening is, because I realized this pattern through therapy, I'm able to address it and grow from it and change that core belief, right, about myself. So me not wanting to cause rifts and ripples with other people in my personal relationships, it just meant that I had to make myself very small. So again, minimizing myself, not voicing what I need. And I'll just read a little portion of my chapter. I attempted to gain attention from my parents by trying to be perfect. I regularly made the honor roll, did my homework before they asked me, and didn't procrastinate on any task. So this shy perfectionist who didn't want attention wanted attention. Effing paradox, right? Even if I got attention, I didn't believe I deserved it. And that is something that I've had to rewrite. Narrative about myself, I've had to rewrite it over the last few years. I'm still working on it. It's this pattern that I just have to change. And what better way to minimize yourself, like I said, than to become that perfectionist? And you asked me about, you know, what this process has been like. I have to echo what Sonia has said, what Rachel has said, and what you have said. Very cathartic. Like, there were certain parts of writing that chapter that I didn't even realize that I hadn't quite dealt with. Like, I was one of those people who's like, well, it's in the past, it's all good. And I could speak to it very, like, almost like I was distancing myself from it. And then when I was writing about it and I saw it on paper, like, I was just bawling at certain parts. So in that experience, it became very healing.
Oh, 100%. I'm with you on all of the above. Yeah, writing is so cathartic. And, you know, your admissions of, you know, being the people pleaser, perfectionist, of seeking that attention, but minimizing your needs. It rings true in so many of our lives, whether growing up as those types of those scenarios playing out in our childhood, or even in present day. You know, I can think of so many ways that I resonate with what you shared. I found that when I wanted to sort of pull back and go undercover, I would let everyone's needs, especially my kids, because, you know, that's what good moms do, take precedence over my own. And the stories that we tell ourselves about why we do things that we do, they can be running on repeat in the background, which you also talk about in your chapter so eloquently. Rach, let me read some of the comments from other people. Rachel says, your story is so relatable and it's told in such a beautifully raw way. That's true. I agree. 100%. Oh, Janet Lau from Volume 1. I love seeing all these cross connections of our friends from the previous book that launched last week are also here. And yeah, lovely, lovely sentiments. Your sister being one of them, saying how much she loves you and admires you. You're beautiful inside and out, says Sonia. Yep, 100%. And
So
I'm so grateful.
one
Yes, go ahead.
one thing I'll quickly say is that I thank you for putting up with my lack of social media savviness, Lisa. Thank you. But there's a reason for that. I mean, it's again that pattern, right? So, the chapter title is "Please No Pictures." So, as you can imagine, I'm not exactly in my comfort zone right now, being on a live stream. So, um, I'm not the spotlight girl. I have chosen a profession to be in the background. So, these are things that this process of itself is also healing, like being, forced to the front. This is good for me.
Oh, it's so true that when we step out of our comfort zone, amazing things can happen. And yeah, you're doing amazing, Sonia says. You would never know that you're not comfortable in the spotlight. And may I impose upon you to do one more spotlightish thing and just have
Of course.
your book ready? There we go. We're gonna do a picture. Wonderful. Let's just hold on. Let me get there we go. All right. And smile. As her chapter is called Please No Pictures, and I'm saying smile. Did anyone
How
catch
amazing is that? Yeah.
the dichotomy
irony.
there? The irony. Exactly. Oh my goodness. Thank you. Thank you so much. And see, I'm glad that you decided to go live and to join us tonight because you were meant to share your insights and your wisdom with our audience. Oh, beautiful. Valerie Wong has been commenting all along. Love you, Chris.
She's been a huge
BSB for life.
cheerleader of mine. So thank you, Valerie.
Oh,
Always.
beautiful.
And thank you guys, my fellow co-authors. It's been such an honor to write with you, to share with you, and let's keep going.
Yes, let's keep going up that Amazon chart as we launch the book into as many hands as possible. So wonderful sharing time with you tonight, Christina. Take care.
Thank you. You too.
Oh, that was fun. So we are going to keep on going with another interview with Rebecca Russell, who's going to be joining us in a moment. This is one of my Fem City friends, one of the 7 in Volume 2 who I met through that community. Glasses. Glasses are necessary for this part. Her quote, "We are all connected. We all matter." Truth. But if you don't take the time to know, love, and understand yourself first, how will you know the best way to serve others? I love that. The introspection that's necessary. Can't serve others before you know yourself. So true. Beautiful. Well, let's welcome to our live the lovely Rebecca Russell. Oh, there she is. Welcome.
Hey there, Lisa.
Hey there. Great to have you with us tonight. And thank you for joining. I am so thrilled that through FemCity, through this wonderful networking organization that we are both leaders in our respective cities, that, thanks to the beauty of the virtual online world, we can meet each other and have a meeting of minds. And that's what happened in our case, that through those networking calls and getting to know one another, we realized that we both had a love for writing. And Becky is one of our co-authors who has a history of writing that is quite extensive, and that this is not her first kick at the can. Um, and having said that, I think what you wrote about in this book is certainly probably decidedly different from what you wrote in your previous you know experiences in the writing process. So I'm glad that we're able to tease out a different part of Rebecca Russell to bring to these pages, because it is certainly a beautiful chapter entitled Own Your Magic. So take it away, Rebecca. Please share anything you would like to with our audience of the process and what insights you gleaned from it.
Well, I think it's surprising to a lot of people who are not writers that it's harder to write something with just 2,500 words versus 50,000. It is actually harder. So this, even though I am published, this was quite a learning experience to write short. And it was a wonderful experience, but the best part was getting to know all the authors.
Oh, 100%. I'm with you on that. I think what happened with this writing project and also with the first volume is that there was an energy that came about because we were all in creative mode. We were all about creating our chapters, and so one fed off the other, and that's really how energy works, both in the positive and sometimes in the negative. When you're around someone who has that black cloud around them, it can seep into your energy field. And well, the same thing goes, and in our case, it was all about bringing the positive energy and the cheerleading that happened to get each of us onto that road of believing in our words and knowing that we had something really important to share. So I'm glad that really crystallized what my vision was for this project. And yeah, believing in your words, Olivia, is so true, because without that first core, that foundation of self-belief, I'm sure, Rebecca, you would have seen this. Without that, the other pieces just don't have a foundation on which to lay. So, diving in deep first, and as you said in your quote, believing and loving yourself is the first step to so much of the goodness that comes afterwards. So, yeah, thank you
Well,
for
and I just want
encapsulating.
to offer my just huge kudos to these authors who I had the pressure of, I am a published author, so I really want to do a good job because I have experience, so if I should do a good job. Most of the writers have never written anything before. And to tackle that and such a personal thing, that is just phenomenal to me. I am in awe of the bravery of these women because fiction. I was published in fiction. There's a part of you in that, but nothing like this. So kudos and congrats, because I don't know that I would have been brave enough without the confidence I had from being published. But these women are truly brave.
Truly great. Oh, so true. It takes a lot of courage to step into this type of writing. You're right, Rebecca. It's a place that is truly vulnerable, and in a way that, can feel sort of like you're on display. And sometimes you don't, it can feel a little bit too much. And at the same time, I think it brings about this sense of strength from within. Again, that resilience that I think we can all lean on time in times when we're facing the unknown, of realizing that your story matters and that at the end of the day, you're the only one that can share it. And no one else has. That's something I reiterated to so many of our wonderful co-authors when sometimes, their self-belief may have waned or maybe a little shaky, is just knowing there's no other person on this earth that can tell your story the way you can. Someone else might know your story, but they can't share it with the heart and the inner knowing that you yourself can. And so bringing that forth is that's just an incredible thing to witness. Rupinder has just said, and I'm going to read a few of the comments here, loved your chapter. Believing is the most important part. And congrats to all the first-time authors. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because it's so true. Kudos for doing something out of your comfort zone, says Sonia. Going from fiction to such a personal story is huge. Your writing was so fluid and seemed effortless. And I'm going to say that because we all know it takes a lot of effort to write. But the way that the words flowed, it was just absolutely beautiful. And I enjoyed reading it from the first draft all the way through to what eventually was published. So thank you again, Rebecca, for being part of this writing community and being such an integral part of our journey.
Thank you.
Oh, let's do a picture so that we can. Yeah, there we go. Hold on, let me find my print screen. Okay, here we go. Let me do one more. All right. Oh, yes. If you can flip it, let's see. On the settings, we'll see if you can find it, great. If not, no worries. If you go to the gear at the bottom, the last one on the dashboard, and that little gear symbol is the settings.
For the streaming?
Oh no, just on the Restream dashboard, like where, yeah, you're going to mirror your camera. So on the the 5 icons at the bottom, yeah, the 5th one, when you hit settings, then it'll bring up, yeah, boom, you got it. All right,
Sorry about that.
this. No, that's okay. That's okay. We want to see, and we'll get Olivia to bring us back full screen. Ta-da! Beautiful. Okay, here we go. One more for good luck. Oh, thank you so much, Rebecca. It was a pleasure to chat with you tonight.
And thank you for all you've done to make this happen.
Oh, my pleasure. And listen, you can follow Rebecca. She has her website is right there on the screen. And I know she also has her handles on Facebook and on Instagram. You can follow her there as well. Rachel says your story is so beautiful and thank you for sharing. Oh, Sonia says she even matches the book. Nice planning. Oh, good job. See, I never thought of that. Oh,
no, I
this is
mean, I
something
did.
about your. Yes. Take care, my dear. Thank you again. Oh, that was fun. So we are going to bring on our next co-author who will be joining us, and have a feeling that actually have a feeling that yes, one of our co-authors who was going to be part of our live tonight, she is in the process of traveling right now. And so Christiane won't be able to join us. I did get a message earlier from her giving her regrets that she won't be able to be with us tonight, but she's here in spirit and you can read her chapter. Speaking of highly relatable chapters, I'm sure that you will you will enjoy hearing from her. So we are going to, oh, there we go. In the end, we only regret the chances we didn't take, relationships we were afraid to have, and the decisions we waited too long to make. Oh, oh, I don't even remember that quote, but let me tell you, I've read a lot of chapters in the last year. That is beautiful, and you'll have to have a copy of the book in order to read more of what Christiane has to say and her journey. So wonderful. Well, we do have one more co-author that's coming on, but she won't be joining us for a little while because she's on Alberta time, and so she's going to be heading over here to join us from her busy workday. So we'll welcome Denise in a few minutes when she gets here. And in the meantime, I would love to share with you about some of the things that I've been up to since working on these babies. Because I have so much spare time. Anyway, no, but writing truly is it's a passion, and it is hard work, and yet it feels so much like home when I'm in that mode of creation, of bringing words to the page that will help others. I know you'll like that one, eh, Sonia? Yeah, tons of spare time in this house. But I have been thinking about how to bring people together in community again. And after the beautiful experiences that myself and so many of the co-authors you heard from tonight have shared, of how writing with others has really made all the difference. And I decided, let's try doing this in another realm, in another format. And so over the summer, I developed a program called Claim Your Voice Writing Community. And it's a 6-week program. It's going to be starting again for the fall winter session on the week of November 2nd. And some of the things that we do together is it's really intended for people who have a story on their heart to share, a personal story. So, this wouldn't be going into the realm of fiction. That's not my forte. It's really about memoir and personal stories of hope, of overcoming obstacles, of how uncovering your light or being in a place of alignment, what that has meant for you on your journey, and how being aware of those pieces of the puzzle could help others on their journeys. So it's a special type of writing, and I really love it. I find that it's something to behold, to see the products of diving into yourself and what you have to bring forth. So, in doing these projects with these wonderful women from across the country, across Canada, the US, and beyond, I just didn't want the party to end quite yet. And although this program is not intended for the sake of publication necessarily, we're not doing another co-author compilation yet, but it's more for anyone who wants to write their personal story and have it be shared publicly. So to have eyes on those words eventually, and whether that be through a blog, through your website, through sharing it in a public forum such as a conference, whatever way that looks like, our stories all matter, and the power of sharing them is, I think, has been really obvious to all those who have joined us tonight. So the details of the writing program are on the screen. And oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, it's so true. You can write your memoir at any age or any stage. 100%, Olivia. I think that if it had been introduced to me much earlier, there would have been a different story to tell. Oh, thank you, Sonia, for saying that. We would have been lost without you, Lisa. You've been amazing to work with, and likewise, it it really was an honor to walk alongside all of these amazing authors. Oh, and thank you, Rachel, for your beautiful comments too. So we are getting ready to rock and roll with some more of our wonderful guests. Oh, let me just say thank you to Rachel again for sharing her words of encouragement. She has been quite an amazing cheerleader, because when I developed this writing program in the summer, herself and another co-author, Christiane, who couldn't join us tonight, they jumped into the program to be part of it, even though they'd gone through the writing process with me already. They felt they had more to share. And so I encourage anyone who who has that nudge, maybe as you're hearing me tonight or on the replay, to just reach out. I'd love to have a conversation of what benefits might come for you. Uh, well, wonderful. You were called to lead us all to get our pen to paper and our story to the world. That is what it's all about, my friend. Thank you for saying that. Oh, wonderful. So we're going to continue our live tonight with one more co-author who's joining us all the way from Edmonton, Alberta. And we're going to bring on Denise in a moment to share some of her story. So Denise Leddy is a leadership coach and consultant, and her reasons why she decided to share her story with us: to remind the readers that with the right people around you, you can move through anything, soar to your greatest heights, reclaim and reignite your dreams, and to know that our journeys of self-discovery and self-leadership allow us to reconnect with the beauty that lies within us. Oh, this lady is so eloquent. I'm thrilled to bring on Denise in a moment. We're just doing a quick sound check in the background with her to make sure that all things are good on that end. And while we're waiting for that, oh, thank you, Olivia. Yes, gathering all these authors together and giving them a voice. That was really rewarding, let me tell you. And it was a dream come true for me to do that. And here we go. Hello, Denise. Welcome.
Hello, Lisa, my friend.
Great to have you here. And as I was saying to the audience before you came on, that you are joining us from out west, beautiful Edmonton, Alberta. And we are so grateful that you could take some time to round out our session today. You are our last co-author to share a bit of your light with us, and there's a lot of light to come from you. I know, because I've read your chapter. Now you can do your part and get a copy and read it as well. So Denise, your chapter, Out of the Wilderness and Into the Light, was a really poignant story of love and loss, and how that has shaped you to be the woman that you are today. And I'm so grateful to say that, although we met online and we haven't met in person, I feel complete kinship and meeting of souls when we first started interacting. That was undeniable, and it just grew from there as we did this writing thing together. So I'm blessed by that fact, and I'm so glad that you're here to share some of your chapter and any other things that you would like to give the audience of insights.
Oh my
Take it
goodness,
away.
all of that, Lisa, and more. Thank you so much. And I have to tell you, the feeling is completely mutual. When I speak about my friend Lisa, it doesn't even occur to me that I have not met you in person yet. It is, this is how we've connected on all sorts of various video formats and had all sorts of laughs. And I can't say anything other than thank you. And I wouldn't even be here writing if it wasn't for you, because I remember the first time you asked me to participate in writing, you know, and contributing to this book. I actually thought you were just full of it and just joking. And I'm like, oh my God, get out of here. I think you remember that. I pretty much blew you off. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Oh, my pleasure to have you jump aboard. And yes, we've got some more things. Oh, thank you, Sonia. I love Sonia's comments. They're so spot on. And we have other guests who are joining the live stream. Thank you for all your comments. My friend Nina Shimon saying it's great to share your story. Really makes a difference for people around you. Great job. And yeah, that's what, what this writing journey is all about. It's one thing to know that your story is valuable and that it matters, but there's sometimes a barrier, a wall that can come up between you knowing that and you putting yourself out onto the page in a very raw and vulnerable way. And I think that witnessing so many of our co-authors bridge that really tricky place of putting yourself out there, because really the beautiful things that occur once you take that brave step into the unknown, that's where the magic lies.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So again, thank you for your part in that part of my journey, because absolutely, I can't say that enough in terms of not only just myself, but I think what we're all inspired to do and what we're all here to do.
Absolutely. Now, I'd love to hear some of whether you'd like to read from your chapter, whatever feels comfortable and aligned for you, but I'd love to hear your words.
Okay, I will do a bit, and you'll cut me off if I'm going on too much. But sure, I'm chapter 3, and here we go. And it starts with a realization. Okay, Denise, what is it? What's missing? What's wrong? What do you want? It was January 1st, 2015. Another year held it in at the stroke of midnight. I asked myself these questions as I watched the fireworks overhead in the cold night sky. I found no answers up there, only booming sounds and crackling pops, vibrant colors, and shapes bursting upwards into nothingness. Kind of like how I felt inside, empty, void. I was stuck. Maybe you know the feeling, a quiet dissatisfaction that you know is there, but you don't know why. To look at you, everything seems fine, but in reality, your soul is weeping, pouring out its discontent in a never-ending refrain in your head. Mine went something like this. I'm so burnt out. I don't know the difference between up and down. But here I go, stepping up to the plate, facing the day. Never-ending emails, people at my door, all competing for my attention. I'm beyond overloaded. Oh well, I need to be present. Take it all in. Atta girl, dig in. Keep driving forward. Get it done. No stopping, no rest. You can handle it. The dysfunction, the pressure, the stress. You're not some special snowflake. Remember what you were told as a little girl? Give it your all, no matter what, or you'll never make it. People won't see you, much less recognize your abilities if you don't. Until then, soldier on. I'm drained. I'm bone weary and I'm tired. And I'm going to get up and do it all again tomorrow. Rinse and repeat. My God, this isn't living. I merely exist. So that was me 20 years into my career. I had climbed all the way up from being a student and into management and all the other different steps in between. And I navigated complex systems in terms of the criminal justice system, chaos, and then into healthcare, you name it. But there I was. I had the safety of a regular paycheck and all the trappings of what most people would feel is, success. Great job, Denise. Upper middle class. Just to catch up again, upper middle class lifestyle and all the opportunities that went with it, career, home, marriage, lifestyle. No kids, but I was Auntie D to all, by blood and by choice. Now, don't get me wrong. I am and I was beyond grateful for everything that I've achieved and very proud of it. It's an honor and a privilege to play a part in positively impacting countless lives, clients, family, staff, colleagues, leaders, friends. But I knew this. I wasn't put on earth to be miserable and burned out, grinding out a career spanning multiple decades. I envisioned myself as more than a great daughter, friend, leader, mentor, sibling, or wife. I'm not here to travel through life and then die. I'm here for more. And I believe we're all here to be, do, and have more, something meaningful and impactful. So to this day, I'm not really sure what it was about January 1st, 2015 that changed me. If it was the spectacular images overhead, or perhaps the cold, or the combination of the two. But in these moments of wonder, my imagination was piqued. I saw beauty amongst the stars in ways I hadn't in a very long time. The beauty of creation intersected with man-made design. Someone's dream was literally bursting forth with light, dazzling each and every one of us. In a sudden moment of clarity and awareness, I realized that whatever was amiss wasn't about work or the environment. It was within. It was deeper. Somewhere along the way, I bought into the stereotypical definitions of success, lock, stock, and barrel. I stopped dreaming, and I stopped reaching for the stars. I was living in my head instead of my heart, playing it safe instead of taking expansive steps forward. I was limiting my desires, my natural gifts, my talents from reaching their full expression. I stayed hidden from myself and from the world. Why? Self-doubt, fear of failure, fear of judgment, my trifecta of limiting beliefs and unwittingly holding me back from stepping into my potential and embracing life fully. I was living a life of missed opportunities and regret, and I had no one to blame but myself. So have you ever experienced anything like that? Have you ever asked yourself, how and when did I lose the essence of who I am? I realized I had no clue how I got where I was, and even less of a clue how to move forward. And it was with these series of epiphanies and a cry out to the heavens that it was the beginning of the way back to me. So moving on to my discovery. And during that time, I've thought, nope, this isn't it. Because my first solution was to dive into leadership and personal health groups books. And I knew that I had to show up differently. And I knew I had to do that in key areas of my life in order for change to occur. So I attended conferences, participated in workshops, you name it, anything I could think of to help move me forward. At times, I'd have this fleeting pinprick of light, and it was emerging, and I'd work harder. But it was like taking 2 steps forward, 2 steps back. I learned everything I had learned. It gave way to old habits and old results. I had 2 years of this dance before I finally had enough. So next up, I heard a coach. A leadership coach that specialized in performance who happened to be a licensed clinical therapist. I needed someone to hold me accountable and help me work through and beyond the insights that I had. And I'm here to also tell you that if I had known how much that would stretch me, I don't think I would have responded. I would have done what I did with Lisa and run away screaming initially.
Oh, wow. Wow. So many comments have come through, and I'm glad that Olivia is sharing them on the screen so that perhaps you can see them too. But
Okay.
as you were reading, it was bringing up so many ahas and me toos, and oh, that's so relatable. Nothing good comes from playing it safe.
So
Absolutely. And those limiting beliefs, that we hold so near and dear to us, sometimes so close that we can't even step away from them. Yeah, I totally relate to that, and can see that being a theme in so many of our chapters. But
Yes.
you know, the good news is that there there's always a way to step out of that darkness.
Absolutely.
You know, and into the light. And by doing so, it's I find that it's such a release. Uh, you know, to live life on your terms. Your descriptions, someone said it earlier. Oh, it was Rachel. Your descriptions are so vivid, and you can feel so much of you through your words.
Thank you.
Absolutely agree with that, my friend. It was a total joy to read your chapter, and it will be a pleasure for all of those who get their own copy and read all of these amazing stories. Yes, Rebecca says autopilot is not living. So happy you found you.
Thank you.
100%. And the way you described that was so joyous, you know, the moment of clarity that came, and the awareness that spilled forth from um just those are diamond insights. Is what I
And we
like to
all
think of
have
them
them,
as.
and we've all, I do believe, especially with women, I do believe that for whatever reason, whether, you know, we can talk about past traumas because I didn't get to that part of my chapter, or, you know, these fear of failure and other limiting beliefs. There's so many truths I feel they're universal that we all of us together collectively. And I do believe also, you know, in terms of many of the chapters in this book, and it's why it's so important this for all of us to use our voice to show others, to shine that light that something more is there for all of us, whatever that might be.
And you know, whatever that might be, you bring up a really important point. It's going to look different for each one of us. And we can find so many common threads in knowing that we're not alone, and that we are going through some of the ups and downs of life. There can be commonalities, but then at the end of the day, how we express that pathway of renewal, how we see ourselves to the through the darkness to the other side, that trajectory is so unique. And it is just something that I'm often fascinated with, how there's both the common ground and yet the, you know, the uniqueness of each woman's story.
Yes.
And that dichotomy is really an interesting thing to explore. Thank you so much, my
Thank
friend.
you.
Thank you for being here tonight. We're going to close out our live with a picture. Yeah, get that book ready. And yes, and I will take, yes, we're going to do, you know where to go to do the,
I was
I
just
had
gonna
to do it
say,
again myself. Yeah, you got it. Just do it. I think maybe toggle it one more time.
oh, okay,
And
I will.
sometimes, yeah, sometimes it needs some help. There you go. I'm going to do this thing. One more. Good luck. Ah, and that's a wrap. Oh, thank you so much, Denise, for being here and for your contribution to this amazing book of
Thank
inspiring
you.
stories. You're a gem.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
Oh, so we had co-authors joining us from all over Canada and the US, from so many different places, spaces, walks of life, experiences, and they, you know, they all brought their whole selves to this project. And I could not be more proud of what we have produced. And I'm gonna try not to get too emotional, but you know, this is coming to the end of this, coming to the end of this journey. It has been an honor and a privilege to to be with these women in community for the better part of 16, or in some cases 18 months. And I just want to give them a huge, huge debt of gratitude for bringing themselves to this in such a way that I can't even describe. I mean, you saw just a glimmer of it tonight, but imagine being around all of that beauty for that time that we were able to work together and lift each other up. It was truly a beautiful experience, and one that I'm going to treasure in my heart for a very, very long time to come. Yes. Oh, thank you, Julie. Thank you, Sonia. Thank you, everyone, for your beautiful words, Louisa. Yes, we have. I love that there are co-authors from volumes 1 and 2 on this live. They just support each other in such a natural way. It's not forced. It is totally genuine, and that makes me so proud to be part of that feeling as well. Yes, Olivia, thank you for saying that. Our journeys have only just begun, because in becoming an author, yeah, becoming an author is just, it's one amazing and beautiful step towards so many other things that can come to you through this lens. Because once you open up those floodgates, as many of our authors have said, there's really no stopping what can come from that. So yes, we all still have each other, Sonia. You're right about that. So with that, I'm going to close out our live today. And please go on to Amazon. Volume 2 is now available. It is, and I'm just going to do a little, I keep holding up my book, and somehow, there we go. Okay, that's better. So head on over to Amazon. Volume 2 is having its rally today, and we would love to keep climbing the charts. We have been up there in the top 15 in the happiness hot new releases category. When I come off this live, I will certainly check to see what the stats are. But it's just a way of really giving kudos to these brave women who stepped up and written their stories in a way that can touch others, their minds and hearts. And so why not support that? That's just such a wonderful experience to be part of, and then also to read and to let those words sink in for yourself. I believe that all of our readers, whatever you're going through and whatever your situation, you can glean a sense of hope and light from the words in these pages. So yeah, absolutely. And if you're thinking of writing your story, by all means, as I said earlier, come and check out my new writing community, Claim Your Voice. I would love to do this all over again with another set of beautiful souls. And I know they're out there. I totally believe that those who are meant to be will feel called to get in touch, and you can reach me on any of the places, as well as my Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn are all available, and I love the DMs, so feel free to just reach out anytime. Thank you again for being part of tonight's journey. And look at that, we're right on the nose at 8 o'clock, finishing what was a tremendous day of interviews, of inspiration, and just beautiful community. So again, my gratitude goes out to all of you who joined, and to all my co-authors for putting your trust in me and in this process to bring forth your beautiful stories. Good night, everyone.